The most popular video on this channel by far is about home podcast studio setups. And so I've been working on this whole other podcast project called Good Podcasting, designed to help people just like you create, launch, and grow their podcast. So if you like audio podcasts and you want to check that out, please do. Some of you are here on this channel watching this video because you've been listening to Good Podcasting and you wanted to see what this was all about. Anyway, long story, just a little bit longer. I did a podcast episode on Good Podcasting all about home podcast studio setups, and I filmed it because I thought, why not go ahead and update my most popular video. So this video is just that. It's an updated version of my home podcast studio setups. It's not all the same equipment. It's not all the same gear. You're going to see some new stuff and maybe even some older stuff than you saw last time that can still work to create a good podcast. So check out this episode of Good Podcasting here on Summit City Studios. And if you like what you see, consider subscribing to the channel for more content just like this. Let's get into it.
This is the place for podcasters.
Hey there, and welcome to Good Podcasting, the show designed to help you create, launch, and grow your podcast. My name's Brian, and on today's episode, I'll be walking you through 3 different podcast setups that you can use at home to create a great podcast. Everything from beginner to professional. Hey, before we jump into the content for today's episode, I do want to let you know that I'm filming this particular episode, and it's going to be on my YouTube channel at Summit City Studios. So if you're interested not just in hearing what these pieces of equipment sound like, you can actually even see them and see what I'm walking through on my desk here. So currently I'm using the Zoom F1 field recorder. I used that a few episodes ago. That time I used it with the SGH6 shotgun mic attachment. Today I'm just using this lavalier microphone. I don't honestly even know. I think it's a Saramonic lavalier mic. It came with a set of wireless mics that I have. So it's not a super high quality mic. I don't even know how this is going to sound until I actually sit down and edit this. So that's what I'm using currently. That's what you are hearing. But as the episode progresses, you're going to hear all 3 of these setups, what they sound like, what they are. Again, you can watch it at Summit City Studios on YouTube if you want to see what it is. And I'll actually post some of the links in the episode description here where you're listening, and as well as in the episode description, the video description on YouTube. So let me just tell you what we have on the table here, what you're going to hear on this podcast. The first setup is a phone and a pair of wireless earbuds. In my case, I have an old iPhone 8 Plus. It's one that I found in my drawer. Made sure it had charge. It's all beat up. The screen's cracked, but it's something that I already had available to use with a set of wireless earbuds. In my case, it's the AirPods Pros, but any wireless Bluetooth earbud will work. That works with your phone will work for podcasting. Even if it's a wired earbuds with an inline microphone, that would work just as well. Now we'll talk about the quality of that versus some of these others later, but let me tell you the second setup that we have here, assuming you have a computer, a laptop. In my case, it's a MacBook Pro, the M1. You don't need that, you just need a laptop, something to record into, a piece of software like Garageband in my case, that comes with the Mac, or Audacity, that's a free application, free software for a PC or a Mac. So assuming you have a computer, a laptop, there's free software available to record into. Then a USB microphone. In my case, it's the Fifine K658 microphone. It's a USB-C connector, and it comes with the cable USB-C to USB-A. So in my case, my MacBook only has USB-C connections, so I needed an adapter, the USB-C adapter that has 3 USB 3.0 ports in it, as well as Ethernet and an HDMI that I don't necessarily need for podcasting. And this microphone also comes with a shock mount that you can use that is a very nice feature. So that's the second setup. It's a USB microphone, USB dynamic microphone going straight into my computer that I can record into there. Then the third option that's more of my go-to, when I sit down to record my own podcast, when I sit down to record the interviews that you've been hearing here on Good Podcasting, it's an XLR microphone running straight into the Rodecaster Pro board. Now, this is the original Rodecaster Pro. There's a Rodecaster Pro 2 that's out there now that has a little bit more functionality. I believe it's a little bit smaller than this board, but if you're just podcasting, you're not doing a whole lot of video, and you're not doing anything really fancy, this is way more than you need. And it's got everything you need, and it's going to be several $100s cheaper than the new Rodecaster Pro. So again, links to all of this will be in the episode description of the podcast and the video if you're watching on YouTube. So what I want to do next is to let you hear the difference in the quality between each of these setups. The wireless earbuds to the USB microphone to the XLR microphone running into a professional podcasting board. So let's go ahead and let's go first to the phone with the wireless AirPods. So the audio you're hearing now is coming from just the phone and a pair of Apple AirPod Pros. I have an app here that I'm using called Voice Memo Pro. You can see right here the needle moving as I talk. So this is, again, the audio coming from the AirPod Pros into Voice Recorder Pro. Now I like this app rather than the standard Voice Memo app that comes with an iPhone for two reasons. One, I couldn't get my AirPods to even work with the voice memo. I've searched it. Actually, I spent the last 20 minutes before I sat down to record this trying to figure out how to connect those. And even though the AirPods were connected to the phone, they were not connecting I wasn't able to record into the voice memo app that's built in on the phone. So I downloaded this Voice Recorder Pro app that I've used previously. You can do a lot more with this. I think it's like a $3.99 app, $3.99. And it allows you to adjust the quality of the audio that's recording. So I've got it on pretty high quality recording settings, but again, it's coming through the AirPod Pros into my phone, Voice Memo Pro, and then from here you can export this as an MP3 file and upload it directly to your podcast host. So this is option number one for maybe beginner podcasters just trying to test things out to see if you like podcasting. And now here we are with the Fifine K658 USB dynamic microphone. Now this microphone was sent to me by Fifine, and I'm grateful that they trusted me to test their product, review their product. I actually did a video on this microphone. If you're interested, I will link that in the episode description of this podcast and on the video description on YouTube. Again, this is the Fifine K658 dynamic USB microphone. It's going right into my computer via a USB-C cable. If you're watching the overhead shot right now on YouTube, you'll see it's a little bit messy. I didn't do anything fancy to set this up. I plugged the cable in, plugged it into my USB 3 to USB-C adapter into my computer, and as you can see, it's recording here directly on Garageband. Now, again, I won't do much processing of this audio, just so you can hear what this microphone truly sounds like. It's typically a little bit closer to my mouth as I'm talking than I have it currently. So right now it's probably 6 inches away. I usually have it 1.5 to 2 inches away, but for the sake of the video and being able to see the overhead shot, it's a little bit further away. So now we're going to jump to the third setup with an XLR microphone into the Rodecaster Pro. Now this is more of my typical podcast setup, and this is something that I've grown into. It's something that I've upgraded to along the way. This really opens up the options of microphones that you can use running into this Rodecaster Pro or any USB interface for that matter. But the reason I like the Rodecaster Pro is that you don't necessarily need to do any additional processing. You have all of your functions, your filters, your audio processing options right here in the board. Another feature I like about this Rodecaster Pro is that you can use this as a USB interface, do all of your processing in this board and record it straight into your laptop, your computer, or there's also a micro SD card slot, which is what I'm using right now, to record directly onto the micro SD card that you can then upload that audio directly into whatever software, application, digital audio workstation that you are using to edit your podcast. So again, this is more for pro level podcasters or beginner podcasters that are serious about what they're doing and they want to sound great right from the get-go. XLR microphone, any XLR microphone, into the Rodecaster Pro would be a great option. Now I'm going to go back and I want you to listen closely to the difference between the different setups. So the wireless AirPods into a phone, the voice memo recorder, to the quality of the USB dynamic microphone from Fifine that I had recording directly into my computer, and now this XLR microphone from Presonus, the PD70, running right into the Rodecaster Pro, recording into a micro SD card slot. Let's jump to the first setup. So here we are once again with the AirPod Pros and the iPhone 8 Plus. You can use any phone that you have paired with a set of Bluetooth headphones or even wired headphones with an inline microphone. But this is what it would sound like if you were to use this to record a podcast. I'm going to do very little processing on this in post, so you can hear really the true quality of the audio that's coming through. Once again, this is the Fifine K658 USB dynamic microphone, and this is what it sounds like. Okay, so I trust that you could hear the difference in the different setups that you just heard. Now I'm back on the Presonus PD70 into the Rodecaster Pro. Again, this is my typical setup. I will have a little bit of processing on this portion of the podcast so you can hear a little bit of the difference from the raw audio recording to the processed audio recording, more compression, more equalization, and all of that I like. So you'll hear the typical sound on this. Now, one thing I failed to mention in all three of the setups it was kind of built in to the first setup, except you can't monitor with it, is a pair of headphones. So let me grab a pair of headphones. Headphones are crucial to monitoring your audio on a podcast. Now I can hear right now, since I put these on, my audio is a little hot. It's a little hot. So I'm going to have to play with that in post. Again, just this section of the podcast, not previously what you already heard, because I want you to hear the raw audio of all three. So let me know what you think. Three simple setups, each a little bit more complicated than the other, but there's not much to this. It's a microphone running right into this board, and you can do all of your processing right here in the Rodecaster Pro, all the way down to a USB dynamic microphone or a condenser microphone. We can talk about that in another episode. Actually, I already did, and I'll link that episode in the description as well. All the way down to a pair of Bluetooth wireless headphones recording into your phone. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Good Podcasting here on Summit City Studios. If you bounced over here from Good Podcasting, be sure to subscribe to this channel and like the video. If you liked the video, that is. And if you like the content here on Summit City Studios and you just want something to listen to in your car, check out Good Podcasting. Subscribe to that podcast, and I'll see you in the next video.